Hello, StarCraft fans. This is StarCastTV Star League Season 2. We're in Group D. We just had Group C, which had a few upsets in my opinion. And today, this is going to be a stellar group. We've got Season 1 champion Snow. He's making his return. But he's got a couple of snipers in this group. We've got Ssinz, who has got some crazy builds. Miso, who had his moment, maybe like a couple years ago where he was just killer in ZVP. And then we've got a newcomer, Taenggu. Looking forward to see his play, of course, not just because he's a Terran, but because he's a new face on the scene. You know, he made his first appearance in the ASL, had a really hard group, didn't make it out, but he played quite impressively. Let's look at our group stage so far. We've got Group A. We had a really strong group there, B, C, D. The rest of the groups are all equally strong. Action, I think, the favorite in Group E there. Looking at Group F, of course, I've got my eye on Royal and Scan. And then in Group G, you know, actually, I'm curious to see how Jitter plays there. You know, last season, he played surprisingly well. And then, of course, in Group H, Mini, he's obviously going to be the favorite there. So overall, you know, this is pretty much ASL Junior, in my opinion. That's how star-studded this tournament is. Let's get a look at how our matchups are going to go today. Of course, first off, we've got Snow versus Taenggu, a PVT. Of course, you guys know I'm a huge fan of Snow. This guy does not lose Protoss versus Terran. If I remember seeing a graphic correctly, I think I was watching Light's channel. It said something like Snow was 40-4 or something. I don't know over what time span that was, but that's over a 90% win rate in PVT. So Taenggu, good luck, bro. You're going to need it. And then in our second matchup, it's going to be Ssinz versus Miso. I think that's going to be an interesting one because Ssinz always has insane builds, to say the least. But if Miso can survive, I think he could definitely have a good shot at winning versus Ssinz. So with all that said, let's get into game one. It will be Snow versus Taenggu on what map? Let's find out. It's going to be retro. Okay, in the bottom left, our red Terran, it is Taenggu. And in the bottom right, we have our orange Protoss. It is Snow. And like I said, this guy, he doesn't lose, man. He just doesn't lose. On Light's channel, like I was mentioning, he has some type of content that he's making now where he plays a team melee match with someone else, with two other players. One player is, like, let's say rank A. The other player is, let's say, rank C. And what happens is once the rank C players gets into a situation that they don't think they can recover from, Light takes over and plays for them. Well, recently they just had one where Snow was with Light and he took over for the Protoss player that was, you know, in that situation. And he came back from an unreal situation. There was no way Protoss should have ever won. But that's just what Snow can do to you. His micro is so good, even with so few units. He can make incredible recoveries. It's just amazing. Now this game, this is looking like we're going to have some shenanigans because that is a somewhat forward gate. It's not on the low ground, but it is pretty forward towards the ramp. And because of that placement, I'm going to expect at least one Zealot, maybe two, maybe three. And Taenggu, he's got a very forward Rax. Actually really late. That was a 135 Rax, and the reason he's going that late is because he wanted to get his gas going up as fast as possible, min-maxing the timing there. And Snow, well, I think Taenggu's already in a little bit of trouble. Delaying your barracks while facing multiple Zealots because there's no gas from Snow is going to be really tough to recover from. There goes the gas. First Zealot is on the way. You can see 13 probes, but 16 supply in total. Now with Taenggu not being, you know, a main line pro/streamer. You know, I'm not so familiar with his game. But when we did see him in ASL, he looked like pretty much all the other pros. Played very normal. You know, upgrades, hitting the 5-fact timing, you know, getting a fast third, fourth base, etc., etc., etc. So I'm not expecting to see anything crazy. Like, I'm not expecting to see him, you know, pull out his inner Artosis here and go for a 2-fact. But that first Zealot is almost on the doorstep of Taenggu's base, and that SCV being chased by that probe. I'm sure that probe will snipe it at some point. Second Zealot on the way also, and in fact, maybe even a third Zealot. Now remember, the Rax was late. In the main, okay. Good control so far. Ooh. Okay, you knew that was going to happen with it being snow. You know that his micro's always going to be on point, and this is starting to get ugly. Already losing one Marine with the second Zealot on the way. SCV is not going to get sniped, and now, actually maybe this Zealot can get taken down with only getting one Marine kill. However, he has drawn the Marines way far away from the depot. And now it's going to be hard to micro versus this Zealot, but with the Vulture on the way, he should be safe. Overall, good micro from both sides. It's a second Marine. Unless I'm mistaken, I don't think he got any SCV kills. So I would say this was a better trade for Terran, but not by a lot. Third Zealot actually was hidden, and it will hide out on the map. And behind the snow, I think I saw range being upgraded. Yep, range coming in for him. That SCV actually did manage to get into the main and scout while all that action was happening, so that's great for Terran. And Protoss is going to spot the Vulture, but he doesn't see the Zealot. And the Vulture is going to maybe die here. Probably going to try and retreat up the ramp, but oh, manages to sneak away just barely. One shot from being taken down. Is he going to die for it? No, he's not going to die for it. Does not want to lose that Goon. I think that's smart. Goon was already heavily damaged. And in Snow's main, is that another building that went down for him? That looks like it could be a Citadel or a Robo. It is one base Robo into a Nexus. This is going to hit extremely fast. And in Taenggu's base, he is actually pulling off something a little more unorthodox. It is going to be a starport. A lot of players do go 2-factor armory. Of course, I guess starport is, you know, the third option really for Terran. But I feel like I haven't seen this that often these days when I actually do tune in into some pro play. And this is actually going to be lining up really nicely for Taenggu. If he goes straight rate, if he goes dropship, well, he may be in trouble, because this could be an elevator into Taenggu's base, which I actually think, because it is a one base, is highly likely to be an elevator. But maybe it is just for straight Reaver. Or maybe it is for Observer. Okay, it is for straight Reaver. Alright. So in typical Snow fashion, going to use his patented unit. And I'm hoping that that's an eBay, because if it is not, this game may be over in a heartbeat. Luckily, it is an eBay. Turrets should be in time, but you can see how fast that shuttle is. It's already completed, just waiting for that Robo. Now, what I'm mostly concerned about for Taenggu is he's built a lot of Vultures. In my experience, playing recently these days, is you can build 3 Vultures. They'll have, you know, about 2 tanks when the Reaver pops. But with it being 3 Vultures off of a 1-base Robo, I don't know. And now showing his 4th Vulture means that his tank count is going to be non-existent. Luckily, turrets are coming up already. Maybe the turrets can help save the day, but I think there's a gap between that turret and the middle turret. And if you guys have watched ASL, well, you've got to be on top of your turret placement, because if there's even a slight gap, Snow will brutalize you. Now that is a fast unit. Okay, it is a dropship, and they are going to meet each other. Fortunately for Snow, though, he's got goons. Oh, he doesn't move his goons. I guess he missed it. These 2 Vultures are going to actually get a decent amount of kills. Gets 3 there. Oh no, he's flying directly over the turret. Will it survive the last shot? It does. And that means that the Reaver gets in the main. I think that's 3 kills already. Oh my gosh, so much damage on both sides. If we look at the worker count, it was 28 to 26 after all the damage being done. Now it's 23 to 26. So Taenggu, kind of evened it up, but I still think Snow's position is better, and of course, Reaver is a little more powerful than Vultures, in my opinion. Oh, how did that Marine die by the depot? I don't know how that happened, but he loses all 4 Marines. He has no anti-air. He did not build a straight Wraith. And uh-oh, Taenggu, your mineral line is exposed. There goes 4 more SCVs. He is going to lose the shuttle now. How do these all connect? It's unreal. Every single shot connected. How does Snow do it? He went from being, you know, probably even amounts of, maybe slightly ahead amounts of damage, to massively ahead. He's up 14 workers now. Terran is on a 1-fact, one port build. He can't even do any timings now. You know, maybe it would be different if he had something like a 2-fact or a 3-fact, where he could just all in with tanks and rallied vultures. But now what are you gonna do? You gonna rally 1 factory tank across the map? Hell no, you're not. So Taenggu is in massive trouble. Snow has complete map control. If I'm him, I'm taking a 3rd base. I'm maybe going into 4-gate, and then I'm going carriers. Because what's this guy gonna do to me? Absolutely zilch. There is that probe. Probably gonna put down that Nexus. eBay. Every building is gonna be so important for Taenggu to not lose. Losing the eBay means he's not gonna be able to build turrets. And with it being Snow, you know there's another Reaver coming. So that's going to be 125 minerals that he wish he hadn't lost. And as I say that, there's the shuttle. There's the 2nd factory. Observer's got to feel like they've won the lottery seeing this. This guy's on 1 fact, soon to be just 2 factories, and I've got complete map control. What can he really do? He also even spots the drop being loaded up. But look at this, there's already Dragoons. He needs to split the D here. This is going to be so hard to get through these Dragoons. Okay, actually, he just completely looped around. But again, I don't know what this is going to do. There's no Vulture support. There's a random Observer. Spots the dropship coming. I guess it's 2 Vultures, actually, plus a tank there. I thought it was going to be a double tank drop trying to shut down this 3rd base. I think I like this a little bit better. He can tank drop the main while, like, Vulture dropping the 3rd base, or, you know, vice versa. But goons have already spotted it, and I don't think he realized. How does he also avoid the mine? Of course. Of course. He does some stutter step and triggers a mine and takes no damage. And Taenggu, he's at least recovered his worker count decently. Remember, he was down 14, now he's only down 9. He does have 4 facts. But if he tries to play a normal game, I think he's dead. If he tries to do a push, I think he's dead. So he's in a really rough spot. I think your best option here is to just camp and hope that Snow decides that this game he's going to play Gateway Man. Because if you timing into Reavers, it's not going to work, especially Snow Reavers. Also with double shuttle, you know, maybe he botches. Maybe he overaccepts hit a mine. Maybe he accidentally runs into some Goliaths. Maybe, but here he comes. It's what, 8 goons, double shuttle, tank drop's gonna hit at the same time. There's a lot of tanks on the high ground. Big shot onto those goons at the bottom, but all the remaining tanks are shooting zealots. Reaver unloads, and you gotta imagine that this is probably gonna be the nail in the coffin. The tanks have all died. The Reaver has taken a lot of damage, but he wipes a ton of the SCVs. Actually, that tank drop on the right side got a lot of worker kills also, but in the end, it's way too much Snow. He's going to take down Taenggu, and that was a really solid win there. I think that the damage that Taenggu did with his Vultures was really good. Like, it looked like it was pretty even up until those final 2 Reaver shots. Something that I did remember as the shuttle was flying over the turret is I was thinking, doesn't a shuttle survive with like 2 health? Imagine if Terran had just 1 Marine sitting there and gotten off 1 shot on the shuttle. It would have been taken down, and then I think we would have gotten into a very even state. I think that would have been a really close game in the mid and late game, but it is what it is. It's Snow doing Snow things. Let's get into game 2. It's going to be Ssinz versus Miso. See what crazy all-in Ssinz comes up with. So in the top left are Protoss. In the purple, it's Ssinz. And in the top right, a Zerg that I really haven't seen that much of lately, it is Miso. Now ZVP, we've got some horizontal spawns, you know, in other games that I've watched, of course, as being a Terran player, you know, I mostly watch TVP. That high ground at top middle in this particular situation, you know, it can be extremely punishing. If Zerg does some type of build that allows him to have, you know, early game map control, like let's say a 9-7-3, and then he takes his 4th base at top middle, man, you can set up some killer defense there, and then, you know, Protoss doesn't have that angle to attack from anymore, especially if lurkers get up on high ground. But at the same time, you would be expanding towards Protoss, and I know a lot of Zergs don't like to do that. Maybe that's only a situation where you have to be massively far ahead. So maybe what I initially thought could happen maybe isn't that likely. Now, luckily for Miso, he does get off a first scout, and I think versus someone like Ssinz, who does a ton of sneaky builds, this is critical. You definitely want to know whether this guy's, you know, going like a 2-gate, whether he's going forge or something, because he's got a wide variety of strategies. Now, that is going to be an 11 hatch, pretty common these days. That drone, though, okay. I didn't know if it was going to be pulled off trying to intercept the probe or what, but a little bit of lost mining there. And versus, I think, was a 9-gate. Every mineral counts, especially if you get your pool denied, just like that. Well done from Ssinz to, you know, stall it 1 or 2 more seconds. As far as the SimCity goes, that gateway looks kind of weird to me, because I imagine the forge is going to go to the bottom left of it. And then it seems like there's not great cannon placements, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it is very standard, that SimCity. First Zealot out on the map, though. And with the probe being pretty much full health, this is going to be a dangerous attack. This should deal a lot of damage. Now, what is that probe up to? Because he's moved off towards the side. Maybe he's looking for the 3rd base. Maybe pylon blocking that. Trying to intercept the drone as it comes over here. And that's exactly what he's doing. And hello. Probe, I think, got off the 2nd hit faster. And I think he's actually going to win this fight. Miso may be under threat of losing this drone. Zealot, wow, 2 drones not mining. Zealot, I guess, hasn't gotten into the main and done anything just yet. But already, well, okay. I'm kind of confused that the Zealot didn't actually go in there. But instead, he's just going to hold the line at the 3rd base. Make sure that this hatchery doesn't get down. Every second that goes by, or what is it? Maybe every, I think larva spawns every 12 seconds, if I remember correctly. So every 12 seconds that goes by, that's a lost larva that he will never get back. So already this Zealot has done really good damage. A lot of lost time. He does get a really good trade there, or the Lings get a really good trade. Kills 2 of them. So 2 Lings for 1 Zealot, that's pretty worth for Zerg. But at the same time, I think the disrupted mining and not disrupted mining, the disrupted hatch timing is really crippling Zerg. And as I say that, though, Zerg does actually already have 100 gas. He's pulled off, and that is for speed, if I saw that correctly. It didn't look like he spent 150 minerals. And maybe this is a speedling all-in? Maybe it's, oh my gosh, it is going to be a speedling all-in. He's trying to hide how many links he has. He needs to just show 2 on this ramp. Okay, or not. I don't think this is going to work, though. I think what he's relying on here is Ssinz moves out and catches these Zealots and then immediately counters the natural. So Miso, very, very all-in with this. Look at his worker count, 2213. Cybernetics just now coming down. Wow, that is so many Zealots before the Cybernetics. But this is what Miso is looking for, is he's waiting for these Zealots to make their move so he can just pounce on them immediately. And again, Miso's gonna have to hide back in his main, try and hide the fact that he's gone mass ling. He's desperately trying to push this probe away, but he's not able to. Now, he has started to build a few more drones, at least at the natural. Speed has kicked in, and now with speed kicking in, I think Ssinz is not going to move out. So unfortunately for Miso, I feel like this is just a massive disadvantage for him. But he is recovering his worker count quite nicely. Now 27 to 17, he's got his lair coming. With the cybernetics being so far... being so delayed, I mean. You know, it's not like these overlords are under threat of being killed by Corsairs, at least not for a long time. I wonder what Ssinz is thinking after seeing that there were double overlords at his natural, at least, you know, a minute or so ago. Maybe he thinks he's getting Hydra all in? I don't know. But either way, Spire is about a third of the way done. Stargate is pretty close to being done. So Corsair will be on the way pretty soon. Meanwhile, how many lings is this? There's 12 there, 6 there. So actually it wasn't an all-in. It looks like he made just enough to hold these 5 zealots. So Miso is actually going to transition into what seems like a normal game with decent econ. 4th hatch coming down for him. He's recovered quite nicely after that disrupted hatchery timing. And, oh, or at least I think that is a hatch that is natural. Maybe it's a Hydrogen. It's a little bit too small for a Hydrogen. Either way, I'm not seeing the 5th hatch. I'm not seeing the 6th hatch. Okay, there we go. There's the 5th at the 3rd base. Everything looks like it's pretty normal. And we're going to go most likely into some normal mid-game here. First Zealot move out. And behind this, I don't think Ssinz is really under much threat. He's got, what is it, 3 cannons? Yeah, I think Ssinz expected this to be a Hydra bust, which is why you saw him build 3 cannons there. It really did look like Miso was up to something crazy. But we know that it's just going to be a normal follow-up. And so far, Miso's looks like he's pretty tight on defense. It's all sunken at his natural and 3rd base. Also, Evolution Chamber coming down. I don't think Ssinz is going to find much damage here. What I'm most curious about right now is what's the upgrade path for Ssinz. You know, recently I was in DeWalt's stream, and he made this statement that he had like a 90% win rate versus the pros playing the fast armor style instead of fast +1 weapon. Now, when he says 90% win rate versus pros, I'm assuming he means, well, I don't even know. 90% win rate. That's crazy. Okay, I remember now. 90% win rate when he plays armor build orders. Not that he has in mind, like, not like he plays Snow 10 games in a row and wins 9 of them. I don't think that's the case. I think it's when he gets armor, maybe he wins that many times. Anyways, we had a Zealot move out there, and the Lings completely surrounded that. And that did not go according to plan for Ssinz. But Ssinz is up to, you know, again, like I said, a tricky move here. He's gone into double Stargate. Okay, he's gone into double Stargate 7 gate. What the heck is this? So he's got both techs. I think maybe he thought it was going to be mutas, and then when the mutas never came, he's decided, like, uh-oh, I've got to actually go into gateway play here. That's why you see 7 gateways coming down all at once, essentially. Ssinz has got a really good probe count sitting at 48. I think, you know, around that number is pretty much the magic number where you still have really good econ. You've got enough to go for a 3rd base while also pumping out billions and billions of Zealots and Dragoons. And again, we have another 8 Zealot move out right here. Can he find success at the 3rd base, though? I feel like this is too late for it to get damaged, but as I say that, okay, there's the Hydras underneath those overlords, and it is going to be the +1 weapon. It's a drone cycle, but I don't think that matters because there's way too many Hydras here for Protoss to engage. So it is not going to be that, you know, killer +2 armor timing that we're seeing around the 11-minute mark or so. It is just going to be normal 1-1 most likely, maybe 2-1 if he got a 2nd Forge in his main, but I didn't see that. This Zealot count is starting to get pretty crazy. What is this, 15 Zealots now? Something like that. Supplies are starting to get a little bit close, though. 112 to 86. unless I'm mistaken, I don't think I saw a 6th hatchery. Maybe it's at the 3rd base, but that is a lot of hydras for Miso. Maybe he's looking to get some pressure. Yeah, okay, it is 6 hatch at the 3rd base. So he's got a good drone count, 46. He can really start ramping up his production now. And hopefully for Ssinz fans out there, he's gotten some Templars. Okay, there he goes. 4 Templars right there, starting to bank up that energy. Saw the cybernetic spinning also. I'm going to assume that's for range. And we should be seeing some Dragoons out in the field also. I think Ssinz actually has a big enough supply advantage that he should consider taking top middle. Like, I don't think Zerg can bust that, especially not with 8-gate production. And Zerg still hasn't made a move out into the map just yet. He's still got his Templars. He's got 4 of them. I really do think Ssinz could secure a 3rd base at this point. And of course, with top middle being high ground, that's going to be extremely hard to engage into. But instead, Ssinz just has so many zealots. He's going to engage into these hydras. But remember, this isn't even all the hydras. This is like half the hydras. That seemed ambitious, to say the least. And Ssinz, who was up 30 supply, now he's only up 10. And what I thought was a good position for getting a 3rd base, I'm not too sure anymore. Mutas are out in the field also. Hydras are going to start streaming across the map towards this 3rd base, and this was a complete swing in momentum. Mutas are looking for those Templars. They have double Storm available, almost. So if he can pick up those Templars, that would be a massive win. Wow, Ssinz just that 8-gate production really kicking in. What was it, 120 to 115 a moment ago? Now it's 140 to 119. Now, one thing that I'm not seeing here from Zerg is no lurkers. Of course, he did just use a lot of his gas onto the mutas. Maybe he can't afford this many hydras while also going mutas. Okay, there we go. There's lurkers. And I did notice Ssinz does have an observatory. I don't think he's really under threat here because he has secured his high ground now, and he is taking that nexus. And as I say that, there is the observer coming out. Now, my main concern is not with Ssinz anymore. I think he's going to get this 3rd base up and running. I think he kept his Corsair account alive. I'm mostly concerned that Zerg does not have a 4th base just yet. This really does look like Miso's heavily relying on this 3-base play to win the game. An interception on the mutas in the center of the map. I'm not sure if the mutas have +1 armor. So these Corsairs could be dishing out tons of damage. Okay, they actually do have armor, as krrrrzzz points out. And we've got an almost, or close to maxed out army from Protoss versus 135 for Zerg. The Corsairs are doing a really good job to shield the mutas away from the Templars. There's a random amount of hydras in the center of the map, and they just eat a massive storm. The flanking hydras did not pan out, and actually, unless Miso does something about this top middle base, Ssinz, I feel like, is running away with this game. The comp of Zerg is just not the greatest. If he has +2 weapon, maybe he can hold. I don't know about this attack. I guess he doesn't know where the army is. That's true. But if he knew that there's the Hydra army right outside the 3rd base, I feel like he would just slam into it. The Protoss Death Ball is massive right now. Look how big it is. And we're going to have a massive engagement here. Where does Miso go? He can't run. I mean, I guess he can retreat to his 3rd base. But there's just so much Protoss here. Okay, the Templars do not really get sniped by the mutas. Oh, the storms are fantastic. A huge momentum swing in Protoss' favor. The Templars did so much damage with the storm. All the mutas ended up dying. And now what's left over is not that many Dragoons, but there's still such a massive supply advantage for Protoss. 135 to 85. Zealots reinforcing here. You got to imagine that this could be the game-winning move. Supplies are just so heavily in favor of Protoss right now. But will he commit? And the answer is yes. Another good storm hits a lot of the Hydras as they're retreating. Oh man, I'm just now realizing so many Overlords are dying, but luckily for Miso, he's had so many extra ones built. But all those extra Overlords, I guess, could have been more Hydras. if Ssinz just rallies his 8 gate, I think he can win the game here. But Miso not going down without a fight. His hiders are doing work versus these Dragoons, but the Dragoons are at critical mass here. And now, with the Goons on the doorstep, he can start knocking down that Sunken. Archon being morphed, he can start knocking down this Patry and Hydrogen. And once the Hydrogen goes down, that's going to be all she wrote. And I think we are moments away from seeing the GG come out. And that means that we're going to have a PvP in our winners match, which will be Snow versus Ssinz. And, you know, even though I think Snow is a massive favorite in the group overall, versus someone like Ssinz, who's got some wild builds, like this one right here, where he opens gate into, you know, 5 Zealots, like before Cybernetics, double Stargate, 8 gate. He can be a tricky player to play versus, and you got to give props to Ssinz there. He used his Corsairs correctly, scouted exactly what was going on, covered all his bases, and we're going to have that PvP finals like I was talking about. So overall, I think Miso just took way too much damage to the Zealots in the beginning. Like, yes, they didn't kill drones, but they killed, or they delayed the hatchery for so long that it took a long time for the third base to kick in. However, Ssinz's build was quite interesting too. Like, he had, what, 20 Zealots before he built a single Templar? That is crazy. I've seen that. I feel like I've seen that either in the ASL recently, or was I watching some foreigners play in BSL? I can't remember exactly, but either way, it is a curious style. I think he almost overstepped there. You know, his massive, or his first initial engagement into the natural, like when he ran into just a million Hydras, I was thinking, like, dude, those are Hydras, and there's a Sunken, and this is SimCity. This feels like suicide. But we are ready now with our finals match, our winners match, I mean. So let's get into game 1. It is now going best of 3 between Ssinz and Snow. And in the top left, in the orange, we've got Snow. And in the bottom right, in the red, you do have Ssinz. Interesting first map, Dark Origin, 2-player map, lots of proxy positions, and with it being PvP, and with Ssinz on the battlefield, even though we haven't seen a probe get sent out just yet, we could have fireworks in terms of build orders. Maybe Ssinz will pull out a 2-gate in his base. Maybe Ssinz will, you know, act like he's doing a normal opener and, you know, proxy something. We'll find out, but I actually feel like I haven't seen a PvP in quite a long time. So it is going to be nice to see, you know, be one of the players in this matchup, especially since PvP is well known to be, you know, a Reaver-based matchup, you know, generally. I wonder if Ssinz will play to his image. You know, sometimes when you are known to be a crazy man, you can get away with stuff like 12 Nexus. As I say that, both players banking up a little bit of income. Okay, that's an interesting gate timing. Not only did Snow actually, you know, delay his gate slightly, you know, building it at 200 minerals, but so did Ssinz. So maybe there's some type of optimization there, where if you delay your gate, you know, the extra 5 seconds, you can get your gas a little bit quicker. And as I say that, Ssinz does go for his gas a little faster than Snow, but overall build orders are mirrored. But you can see that Snow, he's aware of who he's playing. He's scouting behind his natural. He also put his gate in kind of a funky position to try and spot for proxies there also. So Snow really covering all his bases. Meanwhile, Ssinz, you know, if he had gotten proxy gated in his main, well, he'd be in trouble, to say the least. Cybernetics coming down for both sides. Zealot for Snow. Neither player willing to scout. Interesting. Both players just optimizing their money right now. And I imagine that Snow's probably not going to pressure with this Zealot either. I think he'll probably just hold the ramp here. And, you know, a lot of times when players do hold the ramp with the Zealot, or there's no scouting going on, somebody may go for Fat Citadel. That's definitely on the menu here. Instant goon from both sides. Instant range from Ssinz. Alright. And Snow, what's he going to do with his gas? He is also going to get range. So again, very, very standard, very, very similar builds. The only, real differential is the Zealot for Snow. Second gate coming down for Ssinz here, and he's actually going to go off and scout, but this is so late, I'm not sure exactly what he's going to be looking for with this. Crews are pointing out that there is only 2 probes on gas. Maybe Ssinz wants to get that faster nexus. Meanwhile, no commitment to the tech just yet from Snow, other than getting range, of course. And that probe, what's he up to? He's over on the left side, spotting. I think Snow needs to go to the left side and scout, because, actually coming into this particular map, I was thinking like 1 gate in the main and double gate at the third base. That could be a nice slick move from Ssinz, but apparently that was not the move, because it would have gotten scouted. And we do have Robo from Snow as expected. It's his trademark building. And Ssinz is on the move with 2 goons right now. Remember, he's got the second gate. Oh no. Snow got the first shot off onto the goons, and now... it was full-on retreat. Why did the goon stop? That goon might die now. Does range kick in? I'm not sure if he kicked in or not, but it doesn't matter. Not only does he get the goon, he also gets the probe. And what was a production lead for Snow, or for Ssinz, he still has it, but he lost his advantage. Now he can't do anything with these goons. Now he's just behind massively in tech. The probe comes in, does not get in there, but he does confirm range, so he at least knows that it's unlikely that this guy's gone range, Citadel or something crazy. But Snow wants to push the issue. He's going to come in here, and he may have overstepped his bounds, because it is 4 goons versus 5. But now seeing the 5 goons, he's going to know that this guy double gated or triple gated, and should just back off. Ooh, Snow, is he going to bleed off a goon? Almost. And what is the response going to be from Snow? He's gone into Observer, plus Reaver, plus 3 gate. Okay. Not sure exactly what he saw there to know that he needs all this production, because I don't think this is just in response to, like, let's say a 3 gate. I think this is in response to, hey, this guy, he got greedy, he's got a nexus behind here, I can punish him if I all in 3 gate plus Reaver. There's no way that's going to work. I think Ssinz, his best course of action now is to just sit below this ramp and prevent Protoss from moving down for as long as possible. Let his nexus complete, let the E kick in, and maybe try and snipe a Reaver. Maybe try and snipe that shuttle that should be coming. Ssinz is playing with fire though. Like, he did go first off 2 gate nexus into 3 gate. There's still no Robo. If there was DT, this game is 100% over, because there was absolutely no respect for anything, for any DT play. No Forge, no Observatory, and not even a Robo, just absolutely nothing. But if he can get away with it, he's going to have a massive advantage. Reaver coming down. Now, I can't remember if Reavers bug out on this ramp or not. We'll see, though. And the answer is, it looks like Reavers do bug on that ramp. So Snow needs to be careful here. Wonder how he's going to actually get down now. Is he going to try an elevator? If he tries an elevators, Ssinz is going to see it coming, because he's got those 2 goons positioned on the outskirts. And that's exactly what he's going to try and do. He is going to try an elevator into a good position. I don't know if this is going to work. This is really rough. Alright, does unload. That immediately triggers the goons off of the ramp, which means now Snow has an opportunity to come down, and that's exactly what he does. He does get off a Reaver shot. His shuttle is extremely low now. And Ssinz, he's in a good position. Doing so much damage to that shuttle is critical. It's going to be really hard for Snow to make anything happen with the shuttle. And in Ssinz's main, I think he's gone into 4 or 5 gate. So lots of production available for him. Those goons also got caught. Okay, it's a 4 gate plus robo. These goons are going to die. And actually Ssinz, there's no way around it. He's in a really, really good spot right now. It's Dark Origin. It makes it really hard to attack across the bridges. Yes, he's lacking tech, but he's got his robo coming. Double robo or double reaver plus goon timing should be strong from Snow, but it is going to be hard to get across the bridges, like I said. I like what Ssinz is doing. He's showing goons on the left side, but he's also got a lot of goons outside the natural. Now, that was a good trade for Snow. He gets 2 goons for free, but he knows that there must be something waiting across these bridges, so he's not going to push across. Supplies are still relatively close, 87 to 79, where Snow does not have a Nexus. It feels like Snow has done a good job to manage his econ despite not having the additional base. Support bay is done, and we are going to have Reavers on the field for Ssinz pretty soon also. Now, double shuttle, interesting. Can be hard to micro, but if there's anybody that can micro the double shuttle, it's going to be Snow. Now, what is this? That was 7 versus 6. He does manage to snipe one of the goons. Ssinz trades one back, but he loses one in the process. And this observer is doing real work for Snow. He knows exactly where the army is at all points. But if you look at the vision for Ssinz also, he's got a lot of vision despite not having observer. He's got a pylon at the top right. He's got goons on the left side and the bridges, and he's got one in between the pylon at the top and his 4th base. So he's pretty much got everything covered. It's going to be really hard for Snow to, split that vision. The really only gap is between that pylon and 4th base right now. We've got the first Reaver out for Ssinz, I think. Lots of Zealots. I didn't see a Citadel in his main, though. Was it 4? Oh, speed is kicked in for Snow. And, okay, actually, there's no detection here. He does manage to unload some Reavers. But if he can get his shuttle into the natural right now, that would deal devastating damage. But instead, tries to help out his goons. A dud right there. But there's no defense. Oh, there's no defense in Snow's natural either. Shuttle does unload, but isn't going to get any damage done. Just duds out. Oh, wow. Ssinz gets across the bridges. So many Reavers for Snow, though. Where'd those come from? He loses the shuttle. I think he has 2 more Reavers loaded up in that shuttle on the left side. Yeah, he does. And I don't think this is the engagement that Ssinz wants. Is that the weakened shuttle, though? Snow's losing a lot. The Reaver fell for... Oh, it did not fall for Ssinz. I thought it did. Wow. Massive swing on both sides. The Reavers for Snow, they're doing work. Of course they are. They always do work. But the Ssinz Reaver gets into the natural again. I'm not sure if he killed probes there. Looks like he didn't. But pretty much both sides trade pretty evenly. You can see the supplies are now pretty much dead even. Snow now on the move with his Reaver. But Ssinz, he's aware of it, is going to get his goons into position and will take no damage. Somehow Snow is up workers now. And that is going to be pretty bad for Ssinz. However, Snow has not transferred any, not necessarily any, but not that many probes towards his natural. He needs to get that up and running. Right now, he's mining pretty bare bones. Goons find a couple of pylons for free, taking advantage of the vision advantage. Knows exactly where the army is. We'll just back off now. In Snow's main, I think he's up to 6 gate. If I saw that correctly, maybe more. Yeah, 6 gate production for him. He also has the Forge. I thought I saw it spinning, but maybe I didn't. Meanwhile, Forge also spinning for Ssinz. I don't think anyone has +1 just yet. But we've got another engagement coming up pretty soon. Can he find some damage here? It's just 1 goon. He does unload. Did he overstep, though? Oh, he did not. He ends up managing to save Both Reavers took a lot of damage on the shuttle. Snow is up. 10 workers. Oh, what's this shuttle doing? He's out in no man's land without speed and gets immediately taken down. I think that had a Reaver loaded. That was a lot of supply that just went down the drain. And how does Snow always do it, man? He always recovers from such dire situations with his micro. He's now just up immensely in terms of econ. He's up slightly in terms of supply. If he can just hold this attack, I think he's in a massive advantage. A couple of goons are going to get caught on the left side. No, not willing to commit to try and save them. I think the move for him is to just get back across the bridges, hold there, and let his third base come online. He saw that Ssinz still does not have a third nexus just yet. He's not really under any pressure to attack. He can just let his econ compound, whereas Ssinz, he's got to do something. He's now going to see the bad news that, hey, this guy's nexus is about finished. I need to go make a move over here. Okay, I thought we were going to have an engagement on the left side, but both players are just going to back off. Oh, actually, maybe not. Ssinz. Is he going to commit? He knows that some of the army is on the left side. Neither player has Zealot speed, by the way. If there was Zealot speed, I think maybe Ssinz could just dive bomb, you know, at the rally point. Try and just bulldoze his way through the natural, or through that position. He does have +1 weapon, and that is a big lead, or a big advantage in PvP. We do have the massive engagement here. The shuttles are taking a lot of damage. Oh, the Reaver didn't fire! Reaver didn't fire again! Shuttle ends up dying, but it doesn't matter because nobody can, or because Ssinz can't get across the bridges, and slowly but surely, Noah's at a massive lead. He's got his third base kicking in. Still, the army is, you know, pretty much even, but I just definitely favor Snow's position at this point. He's still got that double Reaver, just constantly microing it back and forth, getting off Scarab damage just like that for free. Still have not seen a single additional probe being built for Ssinz, and the Zealot confirms this guy's not transitioning. This is just a massive all-in. Ssinz is on a clock, though, because it's 15 minutes. He's going to be running out of minerals in his main pretty soon. Again, the Reaver's going to unload. Big shot, big shot. Ssinz Reaver. Oh, that was a big shot from Ssinz Reaver. Finally getting some damage. Then he blows up 3 Dragoons immediately. But this is such a tiny choke. You got to be very careful to have this engagement. Really good micro on both sides. I think both players avoided the shuttle. Oh, he takes down the shuttle and the Reaver. Gets both of them. But I think Ssinz also lost his shuttle, so he can't push in here. And with another Reaver online, well, actually, I take that back. 2 Reavers online for Snow. He's still in the driver's seat, and all Ssinz can do is just continuously try and build units and try and push. Now he's going to get a favorable engagement here. Okay, those goons at the top side are prevented the goons from... Okay, I think... Yeah, I was going to say, I think Ssinz just has to go for it. There's just... The econ is just going to be too much of a massive advantage. Look at the hot pickup on the Reavers. He's microing 3 Reavers. Ends up losing 1 of them. And this army got blasted. Ssinz, he is going to fall. Snow with the impeccable micro. Brings it back from, I think, a build order deficit. Really well done from Snow. Just doing miraculous things with the Reaver. I love the constant goon movement on the left side. You know, evaluating where Ssinz's army was at all times, having effective trades. And that means now Snow is 1 game away from moving on. So let's get into game 2. See if Snow can close it out. Or maybe Ssinz can pull it back. Okay, in the top middle, we do have Snow. And in the mid right, we do have Ssinz. And if I was Ssinz here, I feel like you had in my opinion, maybe not a massive lead off of your build order, but, you know, it was a decent lead for sure. And if you can't transition that into a victory, I feel like your only chance of winning is to just go for a Hail Mary. And that's exactly what we're seeing here. This is going to be a proxy. It's either going to be a 7-7 gate in the middle, or it's going to be a 2 gate. And okay, it's going to be neither. I guess maybe he's also can proxy at mid left. What? Is he just going straight into the main? Okay. Well, this is risky, but it's going to pay off. Oh man, he can come in and spot the pylon. And Snow doesn't see that he spotted it, so he knows that, hey, you're here. I'm going to 2 gate. And remember, on Dark Origin, Snow did not scout at all. Snow needs to send this probe out. It looked like it was actually... No, it turned around. And this is bad news bears for Snow. This is going to be a quick game. If he 2 gates, he can hold. If he doesn't 2 gate, he's mega dead. And I don't think that this probe is going to scout either. Also, because of the pylon positioning, he can even build a battery with these gates. Like, he can just put it right outside of the check. Oh, he scouted! He's going to see it! And he's going to be like, how the heck did you know I was here? He needs to cancel that gate, or that gas, and he does immediately. He needs to get a battery down. And Ssinz is not all in with this. I mean, I realize that, of course, this is, very committed. But it's not like Ssinz is cutting probes. He does have a decent worker count. He is just down 1 worker. He needs to deal crippling damage, of course. But he does have econ to fall back on. Like, let's say it gets into a stalemate where neither player can attack. He will be able to actually go into Dragoons. Or maybe not. Now he's starting to cut his workers. First zealot out for both sides. Neither player built a battery, which is surprising to me. That probe... Oh, he needs that probe. He needs the probe before the battery gets down. He gets the probe, but he gets the battery down. And battery goes down for Snow. Also, this could actually be a hold. Multiple batteries going down for Snow now. And now Ssinz is in trouble because losing the probe means he cannot match the batteries. 3 zealots versus just 2. Batteries completed for Ssinz. Ooh. Really good trades for both sides. Both players healing up their zealots. Loses the probe there. 3 versus 3. 4 versus 3. I don't think that this is going to work for Snow. I think that there's just too many zealots. He ends up losing his battery, and he can't kill that battery fast enough. Second battery coming in. He needs that battery, man. And I think Ssinz has done it. Now probes are being pulled off the line. 6 zealots versus 5. Does not have the battery anymore. But zealots are going to start to fall. Probes are doing a lot of damage. But the zealot count, is it enough? Oh, there's a bunch of hurt zealots here. Oh, but the clutch heal on 3 zealots at the bottom side. They get saved. What could have been a game-swinging move in favor of Snow ends up being a game-swinging move in favor of Ssinz. Oh, this is going to be it. Snow's only mining with 6 workers now. He only has 9 in total. And Ssinz, he should end up taking this game. He's got massive amounts of batteries now. Snow cannot continuously build 2 zealots at a time with this low worker count. Oh my gosh, the healing is just clutch. Crazy. This was razor thin. This was so close. And this is why Ssinz is so deadly. You've got to scout this guy. Which is why I found it so surprising that there was no scouting in game 1. And I think probably what happened was Ssinz watched the replay and he's like, dude, you know who I am? You got to scout versus me. And that's why you saw him just go for this crazy move. If Snow was not here, like let's say if Snow was at bottom left, this would have just looked foolish, right? Maybe Ssinz wouldn't have gone for the gates if he didn't scout anything, but this was a killer move, and these zealots end up winning the game. That's going to be it. Snow's going to tap out, and we've got a series on our hands, boys. We've got 1-1 scores. Ssinz, maybe he can do it. I think he's definitely one of the few players that can take down Snow. He's got a bunch of crazy build orders. You got to be on top of your game, like I was saying. And I guarantee you Snow's going to be scouting this time. That's for sure. He's definitely not going to let this guy get away with, you know, a proxy gate on a 4-player map in his base. That ain't happening. So let's get into game 3. Maybe Ssinz can do it again. I would love it. So in the top left, taking it in game 2, it's Ssinz. And in the bottom left, a little bit too cocky with the no scout in game 1 and then getting punished in game 2, it's Snow. So, you know, sometimes players, when they do lose like that, they get into the mode of like, oh, that's how it's gonna be, huh? We're gonna play like that? And they try and match the aggression in game 3. I don't think Snow is one of those players. Watching his stream, he seems very collected all the time. He knows that he can put players on tilt by just going for normal play. So I don't think we're going to see anything wild from him. Most likely, my prediction is we're going to see the same thing as he did on Dark Origin. Gate, Cyber, Robo, 1 Zealot, hold your ramp, go into Nexus as a follow-up. But Ssinz, on the other hand, you know, maybe he's thinking like, okay, I got away with a crazy build on game 2. Game 1, no, I didn't get scouted. I got a good eco lead. Maybe Snow's thinking that I won't go for the crazy move again. Oh my goodness. Ssinz built his gate, got his probe locked, had to cancel the gate just to save the probe. That stings. That really does sting. His gas is going to be a little bit later. And he's going to match the, you know, the build of Snow, but he's just going to be down those 25 minerals or whatever he lost. But as I was saying, I think maybe Ssinz, maybe he tries and goes for what he does on Dark Origin. Maybe try and go for that fast Nexus again. I don't know about going fast, you know, 2-gate Nexus, 3-gate, and still have no Robo, because Snow may have watched that game and thought like, dude, you didn't even account for DT at any point in that game. But maybe something like 2-gate Nexus Robo, and then evaluate whether you think that this is, you know, a DT of play, and then go Observer. And if it's not, go Reaver or go 3rd gate. But either way, Snow going to be more careful this time. Going to be scouting with that probe, and will find Ssinz in the first position. However, when he comes in here and sees that there's no Zealot, and sees that, well, maybe sees that, no, he's not going to see. I'm going to say, if he sees no Zealot and sees that the Cybernetics is late, did he miss it? Did he really miss the probe? No, he saw it. And he saw the probe come from a weird angle down at the bottom, and he does spot the gateway at the bottom. So already Snow knows that this guy has a hidden building down there, and he scouts it immediately. Nothing is going right for Ssinz this game. This is really bad for him. And what's Snow's response? That's probably the Robo right there. I don't think that's a Citadel. Oh, that's the gate. Okay. He's just going to match the gate timing. So he's going to go 2-gate into 2-gate. Ssinz is up a lot of workers, though. He's up 4 workers. Snow is cutting a lot for this. I just now realized that he's cutting a lot for this. Whoa. Okay. No range for Ssinz. Now remember, all he saw was there was a 2nd gate. He didn't see, you know, range spinning. He didn't see a Robo down there. He didn't see a Citadel. I wonder if Snow is thinking that maybe this guy proxied a Citadel somewhere, which is why you see him scouting with goons across the map. I think Snow actually has to respect that there could be DTs as a follow-up. But I don't see a Robo. Meanwhile, Ssinz, is that a Robo at his ramp? It has to be, right? It can't be anything else, really. That'd be crazy. Yeah, there is the Robo. And Snow, I don't know, his build seems a little off. because he has a lot of gas, right? Like he has 350 gas. His Robo's gonna be way later than Ssinz. He's down 4 workers. That's the main thing for me, is how did he get down 4 workers while doing all this? Well, either way, Ssinz has recovered his econ quite nicely. Remember, he messed up that gate. Had to cancel that. And he's gone into mid-game with pretty sizable eco lead. I mean, like a 4 probe, that's immense. And with the Robo being done, he'll be able to get an observer out much quicker than Snow. Snow, he's going to try and make something happen here. He's got, 6 goons, 1 zealot. Remember, Ssinz cut his range for this. So these goons, they need to back off. And luckily that observer came out in the nick of time. He will back off and should be able to hold the ramp here. Zealot going to lead the charge. He wants it. Wow, he focused down that goon immediately. Almost gets another goon, and actually Pro's going to have to be pulled off the line. A goon does fall there. Zealots are really strong on a ramp. I think Ssinz will hold this, but he may end up losing a couple of probes, maybe lose those zealots, maybe lose some goons. Focuses. Goon doesn't get the killing blow though. I did just see range did kick in for Ssinz now. So these goons that are damaged in the front need to be careful. He picks off the zealot. That goon is very hurt. Okay, that fell. Shield battery coming in. Gonna help heal these goons. Okay, he's moving in. Oh, loses 2 goons for that. A little unorthodox from Snow to lose that. I'm surprised that he's continuing to commit here despite seeing the battery. He does force off a lot of lost mining time, which is why he's forced off 9 probes. That's a lot. Now Snow is back with his econ. He's actually, of course, going to be ahead with these 9 probes pulled off of the line. And, despite not really having good vision, something that I did notice on not just Retro, but also Dark Origin, I recently found out when somebody 8-racks me there that there's actually a little bit of vision that you can have from the low ground. You don't actually have to go up the ramp. Snow exploited that very nicely, got off a lot of damage. He now has massive worker lead. He's up 4. He's got a goon advantage. He's got good goon positioning on the left side, saying, hey, you will not pass. Spots their shuttle, and he does see it. Will move back. Speed also kicked in on that shuttle, so it's imperative that he does get back in time, because, it could get there really, really quickly. First Reaver out for Snow. And Ssinz is the one that's going to need to do some damage now, because he sees that Snow's Nexus is about halfway done. He spent 200 minerals on batteries, which will not help him. So he needs to do something to punish this Nexus. He needs to recover in some way. And some way is he's going to try and bully his way down this ramp. Actually gets the Reavers unloaded without taking any damage. This is really dangerous from Snow. There's only 1 Reaver. Not that many goons. What is it? 4 goons on the right side? Maybe a few additional ones supporting the Reaver in the back. Yeah, it looks like 5 goons supporting them in the back. And Snow's going to loop around like he wants to make a counterattack. But this feels like what he's doing exactly on Dark Origin, where he just, has some goons on the right side, goons on the left side, posturing back and forth. Trying to get a read on where that shuttle is. Nexus coming down for Ssinz, but the Nexus is already done for Snow. Now, Snow may have gotten his goons caught. He's going to retreat onto this high ground. But will they survive? I don't know. Look at this interception that he wants to go for. He knows that these goons are isolated. Yeah, come to Papa. Eat this big scarab shot. Boom! Boom! See you later. And what does Snow get in return for that? Not much. He only gets off a single shot onto the shuttle. So already, Ssinz is doing a fantastic job coming back from this situation. Oh, he drew units out of position into the main. Goes that shuttle. Okay, not going to be able to get off much damage. He does pop 1 pylon, or 1 probe. Maybe got the pylon also. I'm not too sure about that, but that was a nice catch. And, oh, again, not a lot of support for the Reaver. Focus that shuttle. Focus the shuttle. He gets the shuttle. Reavers unload. Oh, he popped both Reavers. Is this it? There's not that many goons left over for Ssinz, but he's got the double Reaver. Oh, single Reaver now. Oh my gosh, Ssinz needs, or Snow needs to micro like crazy here. Losing the shuttle and the Reavers is massive. First Reaver coming down. Oh, it's Reaver versus Reaver. Oh, Reaver got the shot up on the Reaver. Oh, he's gonna get the Reaver. And of course Snow gets the Reaver. Snow doing Snow things with his own Reaver. Now he's got the advantage. 3 goons versus 3 goons plus a Reaver on Snow's side. Ssinz has got to retreat. He does have his Nexus up and running. But that was a massive, massive win there for Snow to clutch it. He's got, what is it? I think he's got 4 gates versus 3. Army comps are very similar. 2 Reavers out for Snow. I think still 1 Reaver out for Ssinz. But this is a playable position. Definitely playable. Very similar worker count. Shuttle advantage for Ssinz though. He needs to do something with this shuttle. Maybe he can just, I was going to say drop the natural, but as I say that, I see an observer overlooking the natural there. That's not going to happen. Snow smartly putting some pylons over at the 3rd base to get some more vision. And what will Snow, or what will Ssinz do here? Will he try to commit here? Try and find another opening? Oh, he does! And he actually finds that, hey, there's no defense in the main. Goons are going to scramble into position. Oh, actually, there was a goon. Actually, 2 goons. And this was a mistake. I think that's... Oh, maybe not a mistake. It gets 6 workers, or something like that. But Ssinz, he's now down a lot in terms of army supply. He's down, first off, 10... Oh, Reaver dropping the main. I didn't even see it. He gets off so much damage. Ssinz, who was up 4 workers a moment ago, now he's down 10. He's not able to engage onto these Reavers. He's scared to engage, because that's double Reaver, bro. Hot pickup there, I think, nullified that damage. And Snow... Look at this. He's just saying, oh, this is your Nexus? No, this is my Nexus. Try and come in here. See what happens. Is he stuck, though? Is he stuck? He's going to have to unload. His shuttle is, you know, half health. He's trying to find a way out. I think Ssinz has just got to go for it. Because the longer he waits here, he's just going to not be minding his main. And look at what Snow did. He's moved across the map at the same time. He's picking Ssinz apart. The micro is amazing. The movement is amazing. This Reaver, remember, it has batteries on the high ground, so he can heal up. Wow, clutch right there to end up saving that. Look at it, he's just microing on 2 fronts here. Now the shuttle is going to get in the natural, and that's where all the probes are. Every single probe is here. Oh my gosh, it's a disaster. Loses almost his entire probe line down to 7 workers. Snow, how does he 12 kills on that Reaver? 19 on that Reaver. Absurd damage. Absolutely crazy damage. Well, I'm speechless. How does he always do it with the Reaver? Pulls everything out of position. Picks off the army. Picks off the probes. Almost sniped that Reaver, or that shuttle, by the way. And now all Ssinz can do is all in. There's no transitioning out of this. Snow knows that, hey, the best angle for me is to try and hold this high ground. That's exactly where he goes. He's going to maybe lose this fight. No, he's going to win this fight also. No, he doesn't. The Reaver does come back and try and hold the line, but this is an unwinnable position now for Ssinz. All he can do is try and make magic happen, but the shuttle's going to get picked off. Reaver's going to do not much, and Ssinz taps out, and that's going to be Snow making it out of the group in first place. Just unreal. I didn't even see the Reaver get across the map, and then all of a sudden, mineral line getting blown up. All of a sudden, goons can't engage, and then Snow, while that's happening, he's moved his army across the map. That observer that got picked off outside of his natural overlooking the gas, that allowed him to get across the map, because if you saw, Ssinz didn't even know that Snow got across the map either. He was trailing behind the army. So, wow, just crazy all the moves that Snow can do. And he's going to be the first one out of this group. Of course, Ssinz not out of it just yet. We're going to be going into our losers match here, which is going to be Taenggu versus Miso. And I think actually Taenggu's got a good shot here. I think Miso is definitely a manageable Zerg. So we'll see if Terran can do it. Okay, in the top left, we do have our orange Terran. It is Taenggu. And in the bottom right, we do have our Zerg. It is Miso. And for those of you out there, I don't want you to think that I'm rooting for Miso or Taenggu in particular. It's just whenever I see a newcomer on the scene, you know, I get excited for them. I like to see them do well. You know, someone like Zealot, who we saw make his rise in the past couple years. You know, it was nice to see him win. When Ssinz was on the scene where he made ASL, that was nice because he's not someone you expect to make it in. You know, Bishop, someone that was not on my radar either. So it doesn't really matter whether you're Terran here. If you're an amateur and you're making a splash in the scene, I want to see you do well in tournaments. Now, Taenggu here, this is going to be for a depot. This is going to be the depot wall. And meanwhile, Miso, looks like it's probably going to be 12 hatch. 8 racks, definitely a common build on Dark Origin, but a little less common when the Terran spawns at top left because of the Sim City effect where Marines pop out on the bad side of the racks. You know, definitely vulnerable. So I think you can kind of discredit that, you know, a slight percentage point. And there is the wall coming down for Taenggu with the racks. But gonna be a pretty fast scout. This could be annoying for Taenggu to deal with, disrupting his racks timing. Fast scout for both sides. Now Miso, I think he actually has 3 hatch play in his arsenal. I don't think this is necessarily always going to be, you know, the 2-minute gas, 2-minute pool build. We definitely could see something different. As I say that, there goes the pool, and there goes the gas. So he is just going to play the normal opener, and Taenggu is going to complete that wall very quickly. As a Terran player, I can tell you that when Zerg scout you this quickly, sometimes you do get a little bit nervous that this was like a 9 pool or a 7 pool or something crazy fast. And you have to be cautious, but we know that it's not. It is just going to be a normal opener. And, okay. Rax is going to shift off to the side a little bit. Now what this will do is it will allow Marines to get into the main. You know, there will be a slight gap. And Miso, everything just looks very normal for him. I don't see him banking Larva to try and, you know, hit him with like a Link Flood, because that wouldn't really make sense where Taenggu could just resituate that Rax. I do expect this to just be 4 lanes and then evaluate based on what he sees. And the real question for me is what's going to be the build order choice for Taenggu, because we've seen a lot of players go for 1 Rax timings with an academy. We've seen players go 2 Rax with an academy, which is of course very normal. But we've also seen some players go for, in my opinion, a crazy follow-up, which is fast +1 into a 2 hatch like this. But that seems like a very fast 3rd hatch to me. Taenggu is on the move with his 3 Marines, and there was only 2 Lings built. This could deal some damage, but smartly, Miso has built 2 more additional Lings, up to 4 now. Make that 6. And that's what Taenggu was wanting, is he really wanted this guy to build some more Lings, not just be able to drone heavily. Lair about to finish. Spire going to be coming down. And it is going to be the 2 Rax Academy, which is, you know, pretty much the follow-up to 2 hatch Meadow play. So everything pretty much going as expected, in my opinion. Now again, a lot of follow-ups for Terran at this point. They could go 3 racks, which I actually prefer. Allows you to scale your tech pretty quickly. We see some players like Rush going to 4 racks quite often. Gets you a lot of map pressure. But with the third hatch in the main, pressure can you actually get done. And then we have some players that just go 2 racks into a very fast factory. You know, I've seen Royal do that a couple times. Admittedly, the few times that I have seen, it can be hit or miss. Sometimes he looks like a genius. Sometimes he loses his first Marine Medic ball, and then it's just doomsday from there because there's so little production. But a lot of options for Terran. Fire about to finish, and we will have Meadows out in the field pretty soon. Right now, Marine Medic move out, just a single medic, single fire bat, and he's trying to force out some Sunkens. And actually, you know, there are no Sunkens right now. Oh, if he loses the medic, that's going to be the whole timing down the drain. And if he didn't lose that medic, I think he may have been able to stem across the map and win the game. That Sunken is so late that it really could have been a game-winning attack. So a little unlucky there for Taenggu, losing his first medic. Obviously a massive win for Miso. He saw that the medic was out of position, and he pounced on that opportunity. And now he's going to get into a normal mid-game. First few mutas out in the field. How many is it? Looked like it was 7. First few turrets coming up for Taenggu. He's got a good, healthy SCV count sitting at 36. So that's really nice. Good econ. That turret is going to be a little late though. That SCV is going to not be long for this world, and he gets taken down immediately. Now, I often see pros build just a turret at this depot, but I feel like it's just not enough. I really like the bunker here instead. You got a lot more DPS. Also, if lings come in, you know, obviously bunker can hit the lings, whereas the turret cannot. And now Taenggu is going to get supply blocking. He'll lose both of the depots. SCV gets intercepted. No scouting for you. And Taenggu, well, he was in a good spot. He's still in an okay spot, but hurting a little bit more. His factory's coming down. I saw that at the top side of his base. It is a 3 racks, and we've got very fast evolution chamber, plus hydrogen. No Queen's Nest just yet. I wonder if he's going to be rushing +1 armor. Try and overwhelm Terran. A little bit of an opening there. Ends up not losing any of the Mutalists. That's going to be great for Miso. He's not committed that heavily onto the Mutalists. It's just 7. I guess range kicked in there. Does he get the Overlord? The answer is no. So again, that's another nice win for Miso, not losing anything. And factory should be done. I'm imagining that the starport should be coming in pretty soon. Saw something go up. Yep, that's going to be starport, and another barracks. So it's going to be 4 racks, probably into a 5th racks with double starport. I think this is pretty much a normal follow-up. I'm not sure if he actually scanned the main, but if he did, he may consider landing his factory, because it does look like this is going to be a somewhat later hive. Yeah, Queen's Nest not even done just yet. It's about 8:15 or so it's going to complete. I think that's going to give us an around maybe an 11-minute defiler, something along those lines. But either way, I'm pretty sure the 5th racks just did go down. Really big econ for Taenggu. 44 workers at this point. That's really good for him. 3rd hatch done for Miso, though. We'll be transferring some drones over there. Firebat's still actually alive. Not dead just yet. Actually confirms the 3rd base. And he sees the first few hiders out. Yeah, I think that Taenggu could actually try and make a move across these... maybe not. I thought it was just 7 mutas. I was going to say maybe he can make a move across these bridges, but you can see that it's hard to get across because your army gets split. But as I say that, he made it look super easy. And now he's actually into the hardest part of the map, which is the center. You know, getting across the bridges is really hard to do. Now, I think lurkers are just now morphing. He's going to have a slick timing here where lurkers are not done. There's not very many lings. The muta count is not, you know, incredibly high. It's just 8. Ooh, he's desperately got to hold these bridges, man. He's doing a really good job. This is why it's hard to cross the bridges. What looked like a fearsome army from Terran all of a sudden just got blown up. And now, well, I was going to say Terran's in trouble, but I did remember he does have 5 racks. He did nail his starport timing. He's definitely not out of it. But that was not the trade that he was looking for. He at least alleviates the muta pressure. What did he get rid of? Like 6 mutas? I think there's 5 left over. Now this army did go unscouted. If he can sneak around here, wow, Miso's crazy. He's gonna immediately try and take a 4th base. That's wild to me. Like, dude, I realize you won the fight, but don't you need to try and play a little bit defensive? And this army's gonna bleed off also. Maybe you can get a couple of rounds. He got like 1 drone. Those mutas are damaged, so maybe he won't commit fully onto this. In Taenggu's base, first couple of vessels are out. Factory not landed. This is going to be bioplay. 7 racks plus... Oh, I thought that was a command center, but it's a second eBay. Taenggu really feeling the pressure here. A lot of times we're seeing Terran players these days, build a fast 3rd base, sometimes even double expand really quickly, but I guess he's thinking that he can't actually do that, which is why he's gone for so many barracks. He wants to end the game ASAP. +2 weapon coming in for him. Really good radiate there. Does a good amount of damage. He's where the lurkers are also. These lurkers are way far forward. He may be able to actually jump on this. Okay, he's not. But can he get across? He's trying. I don't think so, though. No, there's no way. There's no way, man! Oh my gosh, and he might bleed off his vessels also. He loses both vessels while losing basically his entire army. It is keeping the... Oh, actually, some of it did get across the bridges. I guess he didn't lose his entire army. Now, actually, this 3rd base is under threat. The reason it's under threat, Miso's trying to take a 4th base, dude. Like, this is crazy. He never had critical mass lurkers. In my opinion, critical mass is something like 7. You've got like 4 or 3 at each of your key bases, the 3rd in natural. Now he's going to get punished. He's going to lose his 3rd base. This was a key misstep for Miso. May actually even lose these lurkers too. More Marines stemming through the bridges. Can they get the connection onto the lurkers? No. But I still think that was definitely worthwhile. Yes, he lost his double vessel, but he did kill the hatchery. And he killed a couple of the lurkers. But unbeknownst to him, this 4th base, technically 3rd base now, is going to complete for Miso in just a second. If Taenggu can find it, though, it's completely open. It is very vulnerable. There are no lurkers. Taenggu just needs some medics. If he had some medics in this army, I think he would feel confident to move across the bridges. He's got 6 vessels. If I saw that correctly, he even has the BC add-on. So Taenggu, really big econ, really big army. Oh no, he doesn't have the BC add-on. So I take that back. But if he can get on top of this 4th base, he's in a prime position to take this game. He's got 4 vessels here. He's got a ton of... Dude, Miso is crazy. He's already gone into Ultralisk? I think this is too many things to do at this all at once. 4th base, 3rd base, Defiler, lurkers, while also getting upgrades. And Taenggu's just completely exploiting that. This guy's trying to do way too many things at the same time. You just can't do this many things at the same time at pro level. Like, they're going to pick you apart. At the same time, Taenggu has an army at the top side. He's waiting for the irradiance to kick in, and then he's just going to pounce on this army. I think Taenggu's done it. I think that he's picked apart Miso here. I don't really see any way that Miso can come back other than maybe killing off these vessels, which he does, taking down those 2. But Stim's coming in. There's not a lot of lurkers. Nidus, I'm not even sure if that's connected. Marines at the front, Marines at the back. This base is going to die. And you can see the supplies tell the whole story here. Massive advantage for Terran, 123 to 50. This has got to be it, right? I can't see Miso holding on for much longer. I think that the overall play from Miso was great. Like, he had a pretty good lurker timing. Got them up and running. He held the bridge as well with the mutas. He kept Terran at bay. But for me, taking the 4th base was the issue. Like, there's just too many angles to defend. You didn't have critical mass mutas anymore after he lost 6 during that bridge trade. He lost 2 of the lurkers of his 4 in total. So during that trade. And there's just too many spots to defend at that point. Also, one thing to point out is, even though, like, Miso killed, the depots at the natural, he didn't really do any damage to the SCV count. Like, Miso or Taenggu's SCV count was crazy the entire game. Like, look at it, it's at 58 right now. He was at 40 when, like, mutas were basically at his base. Like, that's crazy. So the econ was just out of control for Taenggu. He capitalized well. And Miso, I think, in Game 2, just needs to get a more solid foundation. Like, really solidifying his defense before taking his 4th base. Because overall, his build was great. Like, he's got 2-1 in his army. He's got Ultras with +4 weapon, or +4 armor. He could definitely fight, you know, Terran if he had a bigger supply, of course. With all that said, I feel like the writing is on the wall. We're going to see GG any moment now. Zerg doesn't even have a drone out on the map. He can't even build a 3rd base anywhere. Taenggu is in the driver's seat. I wonder what he's waiting for. Maybe he's waiting for more fire bats. Maybe he's got drops coming. Maybe he's got DCs coming. Not too sure. But he is up more than 100 in supply. There it is. GG comes out. And that means Taenggu is 1 game from sending Miso home and moving on into the deciders match versus Ssinz. And I wonder what map will be coming up next, because it just looked kind of easy for Taenggu. You also got to remember that the first push out didn't even work at all. Like, he lost his first medic. So despite the timing he was going for, he still had massive econ. Zerg scaled into the mid game in a good spot, and it still didn't matter. So let's get into Game 2. Second map is going to be Apocalypse. I guess the maps are just set the whole way. And let's see if Miso can bring it back. I think this is a great CVT map. So in the top middle, we do have Miso. And in the bottom left, we do have Taenggu. And I think Taenggu's gotten some good spawns here. You can almost full wall off bottom left. And because of that, I'm going to say I hope we get to see an 8 racks here. And meanwhile for Miso, I think pool first is going to be a good opener here. You know, there's a pretty decent size gap if Terran was to spawn at mid-right. There's still a slight gap at bottom middle, or bottom left, I mean. And I think that the likelihood of an 8 racks coming out is quite high. So because of that, I'm hoping Miso either overpools or 12 pools here. But this time around, it is not going to be the 8 racks. It is going to be Depot again. And are we going to have the overpool from Miso? It's looking like it is going to be a no. That means we're going to have a 12 hatch, and this is going to be as good of an opener as he could have hoped for. There is the racks at the entrance there. You can see that not much of a gap here other than at the bottom side of the barracks, which is why I like this position, you know, much better than all the other ones. And I wonder if Taenggu is someone that does, you know, 1-1-1, but we've now gotten past that point. Generally, if it's going to be a 1-1-1, we would have seen gas at around the 140 mark, but that is coming on. And Miso, this is going to be a little bit faster this time. It is going to be the 2-minute pool, 2-minute gas, whereas last game it was, you know, technically, I think, 2:12. Slightly faster than last time. And again, Taenggu's going to see it and be able to respond accordingly. I think if I was Taenggu here, you know, my 2 racks, even though it didn't do any damage in the initial stages, the only reason it didn't do damage was because of the medic getting picked off. I think I would try it again. I think rush distances are, you know, somewhat similar here. Miso showed that he didn't want to build a sunken until the very last moment. Maybe you can actually get a quick win here with another 2 racks. Also, he did prevent the drone from coming in here. You know, that we know it's a command center because of the lack of money from Taenggu, but I think this could have been another one of those games where you do try and 2 racks on 1 base. Drone going to come in here. Again, not see anything. So Taenggu or Miso completely in the dark. Other than seeing that racks continuously build Marines, didn't really see much. I think the continuous building of Marines does signal at least it's not going to be, you know, a factory type of play. But other than that, really didn't get a glimpse of anything at all. First couple lings on the map. I'm going to push this SCV back. Now, I think the drone may have trailing vision of the Marines coming. Hopefully that these 2 eggs, at least one of them, are lings. Right now, there's only... Okay, those are the lings. And that means that Taenggu, I'm going to guess, will back off. And there is the second racks. Gas coming in. Didn't see the academy just yet. Maybe this is going to be a 4-minute academy, which is what players were doing in the... I'm going to call it the olden days, but, you know, olden days meaning like 1 to 2 years ago. And he is smartly going to back off before Speedling kicks in. Now, with the 4-minute academy, I don't think you can really do a lot of damage with this. But what you can do is scale your econ, your upgrades. You know, of course, not going to be as fast as 330 academy, but still going to be pretty solid. Also, you're going to have a massive Marine count. So maybe you can move out and at least force some Sunkens, but I don't think you can commit. I think the Meadows will be out in time, but you can at least force, you know, maybe 1 or 2 Sunkens. As far as Miso goes, 3rd hatch in the main again. You can see it at the bottom side of his main. Again, not on location, not willing to risk losing that hatch versus a likely 2 racks. I think that's a smart move. So many games I've seen where Terran players, they move out and the 3rd hatch is on location somewhere, and I just think to myself, man, this is a very vulnerable base. If it gets scouted, I mean, this thing's dead. Miso smartly realizing that he should be a little bit more cautious. And we do have a 3 racks, just like we did last game. eBay coming in. Scan goes off. Sees, of course, that there is a spire. I think he missed the hatchery just barely in the main. He may be thinking that it's out on the map somewhere. And that may pressure him to actually move out. And what Miso can do, if that happens, is, of course, you know the Marines are out of position. You can just go for a backstab with your mutas into the main, look for some SCV kills, and then hold your natural with just Sunkens. We'll see if that's actually what he goes for. Meanwhile, approaching the point in the game where I'm expecting to see a factory coming down pretty soon. Turrets have already been set up for Taenggu in key positions. Not really any place to exploit, I don't think. However, Apocalypse does have a lot of dead space over the natural. It can be, in my opinion, quite tough to limit the damage onto this SCV line. How much damage can he get done? There goes 1. There goes 2. 3. And into the main he goes. But this is going to trigger a counterattack from Taenggu. I don't think it got scouted. But the muta should know something's up. Because, hey, you're not trying to defend with Marine Medic. So overall, this was really good damage from Miso. Taenggu's not going to get any counter damage done. He's just going to lose 4 or 5 SCVs pretty much for free. I don't even think a single Mutalist fell there. And once again, Miso in, I think, a pretty good position. Didn't overcommit Lings. Didn't overcommit Mutas. Probably has his Hydrogen up and running and should be getting Lurkers pretty soon. Hopefully that brown dot we see at top right is for 3rd base. I'm not sure if that's a drone or not. More SCVs falling. And another one falls. As a Terran, of course, it pains me to see the Terrans lose so many SCVs like this. But at the same time, when I play my own games, I feel justified losing this many SCVs. I find it just so hard to defend this particular spot on Apocalypse. There's the Hydrogen. There's the Queen's Nest. I didn't see an evolution chamber like in last game. Oh, he found the Marines out of position. This is what Miso wants. He wants to pick off this army before both armies get together, but he's not able to do so. Almost gets a depot and a turret. I think that was a moment of opportunity where if the Lings were a little bit closer to those mutas, maybe he could have jumped on that army. Now, I think if he jumps on the army, that's a grave mistake. There's way too much DPS on the Marines. +1 weapon will be kicking in pretty soon for the Marines, so they're going to be hitting really hard. Scan went off, and Miso does have that hatchery going up and up right. Turret is going to die, and again, these mutas are doing work on the natural. This happened to me literally yesterday. I built my refinery here, and with the turret gone, I had no way to engage this. I think I lost my refinery 4 times trying to defend this. So I think, actually, Taenggu should maybe potentially just accept that this is going to die and go for some counterplay on the map, but instead, he's going to hang around here, and you're just not going to get this. I'm sorry. It's not happening. Despite all the damage that the mutas have done, look at the worker count. 39 SCVs. Where is this guy pulling out all these SCVs? They're just out of nowhere. However, spending all that money on the SCVs means that the tech is a little bit later. And actually, Miso is in a really fantastic spot here. The Marines are moving out, but they really haven't gotten far out into the map. I mean, look at this. It's 6 Marines and 4 medics. That is not a very strong army at all. Supplies are pretty much dead even, 72 to 73. Lurker should be on this field pretty soon. Miso's in a really, really fantastic spot. I think all he has to do this game is, like I said, get 3 lurkers at your natural, 4 lurkers at your third base, and then just power. Power, power, power. Let all your key buildings kick in. The Defiler mount. You know, your upgrades kick in. Get some macro hatches. And he should be good to go in this game. He's really done a really good job to keep Taenggu's, army in check, keep his econ in check. But Taenggu may have found another slick timing here because his army is huge. There's no lurkers. Hydras are in the middle of morphing, and I don't think Ling Muta can beat this army. This may have been the one window of opportunity that Taenggu had. His army is huge. I think +1 weapon also kicked in. Man, this is so solid play from Taenggu, hitting the only moment of vulnerability on the third base. This is going to die. I'm pretty sure. I don't think there's enough mutas here. Lurker in the back. Scan goes off. Good split. Oh, he is going to hold. Just barely. But he did a lot of damage. Killed multiple lurkers. Killed a lot of lings. Killed a lot of mutas. Also, getting rid of all those mutas alleviates a lot of pressure. Now, Taenggu could expand if he wants. He could put down more Raxes like he did on Dark Origin. He's got his first few vessels out in the field also. And look at how many Sunkens it triggered from Miso. That also is hurting his econ. Macro Hatch, I like this much better than what he did on Dark Origin. Obviously, it's going to be super easy to defend. Hopefully, those lurkers are hold position lurkers. I don't think the SCV was in range to hear the sound go off that those burrowed. But maybe he did. And if he did, that's going to be 3 free lurkers. Oh, it was hold position, like I said, but smartly, Miso pretty much immediately unburrows, but still loses one of them. And with double irradiate, actually, if this is a counterattack from Taenggu to top right's base, it's only 1 lurker. Oh my gosh. Again, maybe a little bit too ambitious here from Miso, moving all of his lurkers out of position. Now, top right is definitely bustable. Also, with the muta count being so low now, if this is a drop switch, drop ship switch, off of these 4 vessels, he could just go for a Doom drop in the main and win. Is that a Nidus? It's gotta be the Nidus. Yeah, but this can't be saved. This is a dead base. There's no lurkers coming from the back. There's no lings. Man, Taenggu crushed it this time. This base is gonna fall. And what can Miso do now? Everything was so late. He's finally got a Defiler out, but there's 4 vessels out in the field. Terran's got so much energy, so many irradiates. Command center coming down. He's got 7 racks production. He can start building fire bats. I don't see any Scourge either, so the vessel's not gonna die. Oh, well, I guess it was mixed in with the mutas. And the muta does take down one of the vessels, but there's more. There goes the irradiate. Does he not have consumed? I guess he doesn't have consumed. This was not Miso's game. He's going to lose his entire army again. He's desperately trying to reinforce with another lurker, but he just doesn't have anything to fall back on. He's going to try and take his third base over on the left side now. But Terran's about to go on to 4 bases. I see an SCV over at bottom right. That's going to be a command center coming down pretty soon. Vessel count still sitting pretty good. Marines should be at +2 weapon upgrades pretty soon, or 2-2. There's the consume. Another vessel does die. That's nice. Lurker on the left side doing a lot of damage, but with the armor upgrades coming in, not too scared of +0 lurkers. I think it's just a matter of time now. I imagine, just like last game, Taenggu's just going to start pumping out a ton of fire bats, mix that in with his army, so that the Dark Swarm is, not impenetrable. And as I say that, there's the first couple of fire bats moving out. Third hatch dies again. All Miso can do now is just bounce back and forth between taking a base on the right side, taking a base on the left side. But I feel like they're just going to get sniped over and over and over. Oh, he's had enough. He's just going to D-Matrix here and run in. There's not that many lurkers, and in fact, by that many, I mean there's one. However, there are a lot of Sunkets here, man. I realize you've got a strong Ari, but can you do this? Yeah, that was, again, another ambitious move. But it at least forces out a lot of Hydralisks, and Zerg is, of course, in full-on panic mode. I don't think Terran found out about top right just yet. But if we look at the supplies, 53 to 107. Again, the writing on it is on the wall for me, so he just doesn't have very much. He's going to lose his third base again at top right. As soon as Terran sends over a real army, that's going to get taken down. His Hydras don't have speed. He doesn't have range, I imagine. Maybe get back into this game if he could get off some clutch plagues, and then combo it with Hydras one-shotting everything. I feel like that's like the most cost-efficient way to get back into the game. But he's just so massively behind that I don't even think that will allow him to get back into the game. Look at Taenggu. He's got his 4th base being built right now. His vessel count's still pretty decent at just 4. Still no add-on for the BCs. I guess Taenggu does not like BCs in this matchup, because both games he has massive econ and has opportunity to go for them, but ends up not going for it. This hatch is definitely going to die. He does lose, a decent amount there to just 6 Hydras, but that's another cancel. Lings through the back, Defiler through the back is going to get irradiated. I heard something go off. Was that maybe a Nidus? But I don't see a Nidus up here, obviously. This army's going to die. And unfortunately for me, so I think that, this game is pretty much donezo at this point. There's just way too much Terran. Terran's got a massive lead in terms of army. Also has a massive lead in terms of upgrades. You also got to remember that Terran has like +2 armor, and these Lings, yes, they have crackling, but I don't think they have any weapon upgrades. So they're just doing like no damage. That was a really good plague. Hits the majority of the army. Another D-Matrix. I don't know about this, but you can see the real problem for me. So is not just he can't get a third base, but the main's basically mined out. Natural's going to be mined out pretty soon. Taenggu knows all he has to do is hold this position forever, and he's just going to eventually win this game. So that will set us up for Taenggu versus Ssinz, of course. That's going to be a TVP. And, I think actually Taenggu's got a good... Oh my gosh, look at this. Factory Man going into mass tanks as a follow-up. But as far as our deciders match, Taenggu versus Ssinz, that should be a good match. I think Taenggu in his ASL performance, he played really solid. Like, he was holding very well. I can't remember exactly who he played. Was it Best? Like, he was holding very well, like, really good defense. And versus someone like Ssinz, you obviously got to have great defense. He also macroed really well. I think that after he holds a clutch, or if he can clutch a big defense versus Ssinz, with the stellar macro that he showed in ASL, he could definitely like go put on some counter pressure. If Ssinz is, all-inning, like if he cut a lot for whatever sneaky move that he tries and makes, you know, Taenggu has a good shot of just, you know, going for a counter and instantly winning the game. Of course, we're not in that game just yet because Miso is fighting for his life here, but he's down 100 supply. You can see how effective these Hydras are with the Plague combo plus high ground, but when you're down 100 supply, I mean, there's only so much you can do. He's picked off a lot of the vessels. Look, he picked off 4 out of the 6 vessels. Maybe able to even get a 5th one. Yeah, he gets a 5th one, and it still doesn't matter. Like, the amount of kills he got right there, if this was an even somewhat close game, that could be game swinging. Like, actually game swinging. 3-2 now for Terran. D-Matrix come in. This is an Immortal Firebat, and that is going to be Miso tapping out. So Taenggu looking very solid in another tournament. He forces Miso to tap out, and that does set us up for a TVP here. Now, like I was saying, I feel like this should be a really close series. I think that this has potential for Taenggu to make out. I also think, of course, we've got potential for Ssinz to make it out. I think both players should be relatively close in skill. And our first map is going to be Dark Origin. So let's get into game 1 between these two players. And in the top left, we have our purple Terran. It is Taenggu. And in the bottom right, going for most likely either a 7-7 or in-base proxy gates, it is Ssinz. Now, I was just looking at the Wikipedia thread for the StarCastTV Season 2 Star League. And Snow was actually, so far, the only Protoss out. We've only done the first 4 groups. So it's been 3 Terrans, 3 Zergs, now 1 Protoss. If Ssinz is able to make it out, that would really make it pretty even. Have 2 Protosses there. And there is, whoa, a 6 pylon even. Okay. I don't think I've ever faced a 6 pylon, 6 gate. I've hit a 7 pylon, 7 gate a couple times, and that's incredibly fast. But a 6 gate? That's wild. Now, if Taenggu scouts this, I don't even think he can pull for this. I think it's way too fast to pull. So he's just going to have to go for some clutch micro here. Now Taenggu, or not Taenggu, Ssinz, this is mega all-in. I can't even tell you how all-in this is. I don't even know if you can afford like a Forge with this. Like, if he could do like a Zealot combo with Forge, that would be amazing. But when you're going so low eco like this, I'm not sure if you can afford building those two. Now, if he builds a... Oh, he is in trouble. Gas coming in because he did not want to get gas stolen, but I feel like if the probe's in this fast and he didn't even attempt to gas steal, like the probe didn't even go towards the gas at all. Like, he didn't even fake it. He didn't even like try and force a canceled SCV. I feel like Taenggu's really misreading the situation. At minimum, he should have at least scouted, right? Like, to see if there's a proxy here. But now he's just in dire straits. And now with the pylon coming down, now he knows, uh-oh, I am in trouble. And he does not need gas in this scenario. He needs a second Rax. Now, what can Ssinz do in this scenario? I think you got to build that battery, man. If he can get the battery at the top side, where he can also, wall in some SCVs, that would be fantastic. First Marines out. Actually, he gets a factory down. I can't even believe he got a factory down here. Now, pylon comes up. This has got to be for a battery, right? Like, I don't see a Forge anywhere. I don't see it at the natural. It's obviously not a pylon in the main SCVs. Actually, Taenggu has held this incredibly well. Like, that's the first SCV that just fell right there. This is actually insane micro from him. But you can see the problem is, where does he go? How does he get away from these 2 Zealots? 3 Zealots, soon to be. SCVs are bouncing back and forth. Another Marine falls. And this is snowballing way too heavily. He did actually get rid of the probe, so there can't be a battery bolt. But I don't think the factory can be finished. Yeah, he taps out And what I was hoping to be a close series actually just ends up being a really fast game one. Really insane micro right there from Taenggu, but also from Ssinz. And a crippling build, 6 gate. Unreal. So we're going to be going into the second map now already. Let's get into it and see if actually Ssinz can close it out. Okay, in the top middle, we do have Ssinz. And in the bottom right, we do have Taenggu. And I'm sure he is aware that, you know, last game got out of hand real quick. If he had scouted, you know, maybe he responded, you know, with the 2 racks or something. But it still would have been really hard to hold. 6 gate, 7 gate. They all hit so quickly. And I wonder what Taenggu will come up with here. You know, we did see Ssinz go for the proxy on Apocalypse versus Snow. He did just proxy again on Dark Origin. You know, maybe Taenggu's thinking like, well, will you really try it again the 3rd time in a row? I actually think Ssinz is someone that does have that potential. So because of that, I think gasless or 14cc, extremely risky. If this was someone else, if this was, let's say, Best, for example, I think the chances of it being 3 proxies in a row or back-to-back proxies, very unlikely. And in that particular scenario, I think gasless of 14cc would be amazing. But so far, Ssinz is showing us that maybe this is 12 Nexus. Is he going to build additional probes? This is why players like Ssinz are so dangerous. They can just play both ends of the spectrum. Hey, I'm going to be in your face with a 6 gate. And in the very next game, he pulls off a 12 Nexus. Or, you know, he's like proxying the center of the map, right? Like, he can pull out every single style. However, one thing to point out is, from the games that I have seen of Ssinz, you know, including, I think he played last season in StarCastTV Star League, right? Even when he goes for a macro build, for some reason, he does cut a lot of probes. So when Terran scouts this, normally you're going to be feeling like, oh my gosh, he got away with the 12 Nexus. Oh, how can I punish it? But I think in Ssinz's, in the case where you're facing Ssinz, I think Taenggu, as long as he macros well, he can go into the mid game in a good spot, because I think Ssinz at some point will cut probes and transition in this macro opener into like a big 2 base or 3 base timing attack. Now Taenggu does come in here and see that, hey, he did 12 Nexus, but it's the low eco version, because he's cutting a lot of probes to go for a 2 gate. He's going to be building most likely double Zealot, double Goon, to try and defend, you know, a Marine Vulture push. But with Taenggu scouting it, the chances of him going for that is kind of low. Now this is a move that I personally really like. The 1 Marine, 1 SCV combo attack. It can deal a lot of damage to the probe line at the natural. You can also split up the attack. You can have the Marine attack the natural while the SCV attacks the main. And sometimes you can pick off a probe at both locations. Or maybe you get 1. Either way, this will disrupt the mining time, and Taenggu is going to engage on the natural. And look at that, he's already disrupted the mining time of about 2 to 3 probes. There's the double Zealot that I was talking about. Can he get that probe? The answer is no, and he at least saves that SCV. That's a clutch save right there. Definitely don't want to be losing any SCVs versus a 12 Nexus. Behind this, Taenggu, command center as usual. And I wonder what he's going to do as a follow-up. Of course, mines is common these days, and I was just about to say that. Starport, baby. We saw in ASL, Barracks hit an incredibly fast Starport timing versus Mini, and it led to one of the greatest games of all time. It also did crippling damage. Won't spoil the game. If you guys haven't seen it, of course, this VOD is probably going to be coming out months after the ASL, but if you have not seen that game, Mini versus Barracks, this season of ASL, it is a must watch. Must watch. One of the greatest games of all time. Not just this year, all time. So this starport, very, very quick. Especially since it's a 12 Nexus. A lot of times when you go 12 Nexus, you have a later Robo. So this drop has the potential to come completely out of nowhere. Now the Dragoons, they do spot the Vulture, does deny it from getting any mine set up. That's really well done from Ssinz. Ssinz has gotten his nat gas. I don't think it's unusually fast. I think this is kind of a more normal timing. You know, sometimes I see players really, really rush their gas, but this looks more normal to me, and because of that, I do not think it's something like carriers. I think this is just going to be a standard follow-up. May even pull off of gas that is natural at some point to try and focus more heavily on his mineral income. Meanwhile, Taenggu obviously got his command center up and running, and despite it being a 12 Nexus, he was only down 2 workers for just a second. And yeah, I was like, there's no way that dropship is already out. Like, that would be just so absurd that it's already done. But it's actually, in fact, Vultures up at the top side of the map, laying mines. And even though it doesn't block the Nexus up there, I like how he has them spread out to give vision for shuttles. And Ssinz, knowing that drop is obviously a common follow-up for you know, Vulture play, and especially versus 12 Nexus, he's got his goons in position. And will he find the sweet? Oh, I think he heard them load up. Oh, he's got everything set up perfectly. That observer, wow, it was clutch. Saw that the Vultures were there, and now has taken no defense, or no damage. Really, really good defense from Ssinz. Drop is going to swoop around. I think what Taenggu is trying to do at the front is he's trying to act like, hey, I actually unloaded these Vultures. You better move your goons out of position. He did. He moved them back towards the natural, and he now comes in with his Vulture drop in the main. And this was the drop that Taenggu was looking for, but he doesn't really get that many probes. What was it, 2, maybe? I think his best course of action here is to try and just save these Vultures if possible. So he loses 3 Vultures there. I think he got 2 probes in response. Not that much damage. I would say it's kind of okay for both sides. It did force a lost mining time with the probes, of course, with the pull. Did kill a couple of probes, but losing, you know, 3 Vultures is not negligible. And kind of what I was expecting to happen is happening right now. Ssinz is now behind in workers. He does not have a third base. He is now putting down, I think, additional gateways. I'm not sure what that is in the back of his base. It's either a Stargate or a Templar Archive. It's definitely something unusual. I do not think it's double Robo. And Vultures is gonna run, or is gonna unload in the natural. That's gonna get some definitely worthwhile damage. 4 probes. That was definitely a really good move. That's a Stargate and a Templar Archive. So it is going to be 2-base Arbiter play. But the dropship sees everything. And if you're Taenggu here, you saw this guy go 12 Nexus. You saw he's now going Arbiters. You've dealt a decent amount of damage to the probe line. And maybe he's thinking that he can go for a timing. He is going into 5 Factory. I think the most common follow-up is to just expand. Yep, there it is. You know, Light is a big proponent of just expanding versus Fast Arbiter like this. And I think this is a really solid follow-up for Taenggu. There's nothing here that I'm seeing that says, like, oh, Ssinz is going to exploit this. I don't think so. I think the production is really good from Taenggu. I think also Apocalypse is one of those maps where you can spam depots outside of your third base, and that makes it really hard to attack as Protoss. So going into the mid game, I think I'm actually going to say it's pretty even. Ssinz is going to take his third base. He's probably going to be able to get a 4th base pretty quickly after this tech advantage that he has. Another drop coming in from Taenggu, but Ssinz is already in position. I think this is really going to do much, if at all. Vultures are going to try and intercept this probe transfer. Oh, no, he's not. He's trying to get into the natural. But one thing to point out is Taenggu did see that those zealots have speed already. And you're not getting speed unless you're trying to go for a bust. And because of that, I think Taenggu needs to start spamming those depots. There's the first one. There's a turret right there. He needs to start laying mines everywhere. He needs to just really start building a lot of vultures. You know, you actually surprisingly don't have to have that many tanks to hold Arbiter busts. You just need a lot of vultures. I think he's got something like 7. So the tank count is, you know, definitely decent. It's not super high, not super low. But you really need to get that SimCity going up. Because I do think that the timing is going to be incoming. Again, that drop is, you know, constantly being annoying. Even though it doesn't get in and get damage done, it at least disrupts the build order of Ssinz. And as Cruiser is pointing out, the probe count, not the biggest. It is 48. In PvZ, you know, I can understand it. PvT though, this is going to be like a 1 or 2 punch thing. Like if these 2 attacks don't do a lot of damage, Ssinz is going to be in a lot of trouble. He is going to have a lot of stuff. He is definitely going to have a lot of stuff. But if the trade is poor, Taenggu's going to be scaling into the mid and late game in a really, really fantastic position. Now that gate count, what is it, 8 versus 6 factories? Soon to be, I guess that's the 7th factory coming down for Taenggu, or maybe it was the science facility. Didn't actually see it, but like I was saying, coming into the today's games, I was saying Taenggu's got good macro, man. 151 to 133, only a 20 supply gap there, but there is a 15 worker differential there, so it's about a 35 army advantage for Taenggu. Now, what does he want to do, or for Ssinz, I mean. Now, what does he want to do with this Arbiter? Is it going to be for a stasis, or is it going to be for a recall? In the main of Taenggu, I don't see any mines at all. Ssinz, he needs to recall the main. I think that's the play there. There's no mine set up. You can do a lot of damage. The cannon, okay, I thought actually that a tank drop behind there would have been out of range of the cannon, but not the case. And Ssinz is setting up to build his 4th base, but all of his units, well, not all of his units, actually half of his units are out on the field. Now remember, Ssinz is a tricky player. I wonder if he's trying to act like, hey, I'm busting, but then actually send in the Arbiter to recall. A lot of the army is at that rally point right now. It's mostly zealots. Goon count is not that high. 40 supply lead for Ssinz right now. 60 army supply lead. I mean, that's a huge differential right there. So he's waiting, and he's waiting. He hasn't committed just yet. There is a gap between those depots. That's still gonna hold the line. Does he have EMP? Actually, Ssinz is going. Oh, it's a recall. It's a bust plus a recall. He recalls on top of the entire tank count. Oh my gosh, that was a massive move right there. All the tanks basically die, and Ssinz, he may have just blown open this game. I was wondering what he was waiting for. I was like, why is his zealots not with the rest of the army? But there's a drop in the main. It's done a lot of damage, but it could not equalize this amount of damage. That was the perfect play from Ssinz. He hit, the recall avoided all the mines is what it did. And now, Taenggu, you're dead, mate. You are super dead. I don't think there's any amount of stuff that he can build to fend this off. He still does have his 3rd base mining, but he doesn't have any tanks now. You remember I was saying you don't need that many tanks, you just need a lot of mines. But in this scenario, he really needs to have some tanks. Somehow, he has managed to at least fend off the majority of the army, but the problem is he doesn't have vision. Also, he lost his comms out of his natural. How many scans does he have left? We don't even know. The Arbiter is still alive. I don't see the vessel anymore. And this has got to be the supplies are plummeting now for Karen. There it is. GG comes out. And Ssinz, with a really sick recall play, is going to eliminate Taenggu there. I think Taenggu was playing quite well. He had big econ. He had good upgrades. Good SimCity with the depots. I think maybe one more depot there to just really lock down units from getting in would have been fantastic. But, you know, that wouldn't have mattered because he just avoided all of that because he recalled directly on top of the army. So well done from Ssinz, and like I was saying, we had 3 Terrans, 3 Zergs, and that was it in the round of 16. Now we can include 2 more Protosses there, with Snow and Ssinz making it out, so well done from them. They're going to be representing the Protoss race well. And I think that's it for today, guys. Of course, we're going to get a look at, I think, 1 second here. We're going to get a look at how today's matches went. As you know, Snow beat Taenggu, Ssinz beat Miso. Snow versus Ssinz was quite close. Snow made it out in first, then Taenggu kind of just blasted Miso. I think on any other day, Miso definitely could have beaten Taenggu there. I think Miso was just a little bit too greedy, and then Ssinz, well, he did Ssinz things in this series versus Taenggu, and unfortunately Taenggu will be eliminated, but I look forward to seeing him in future tournaments. And that is it today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Of course, if you enjoy the cast, definitely consider supporting the StarCastTV Star League. You can do so by supporting the Patreon. You know, this tournament is funded exclusively by krrrrzz and also with some support from Afrika. So definitely consider becoming a Patreon supporter so that we can continue creating tournaments like this. And I look forward to seeing you in the next group. Our next group is going to be Group E, which I remember has action in it. So that should be another good group. So I look forward to seeing you there. Take care.